what started, really I would say that the vision of the business started about 14 years ago. Because the first couple of years we were just like, God, we just got to make some money. And then it started to become clear. In fact, it was after we launched Power 90, and we put up these message boards. And it was a very interesting dynamic because, you know, I originally was this infomercial guy, right? So I would like just try to sell something, try to sell stuff that would get a good reaction. I obviously didn't want to sell some gimmick that didn't work, but at the end of the day, it was about selling. And then we were in the development of Power 90, and I remember having a meeting with our media company, and they looked at this booklet that I'd written in the, like, this garage. I had a little office in my garage, tiny little house, and I typed it myself and put these little jokes in there, and they're looking at all the hard work, and they're like, this thing will never sell. You can't sell this against, you know, the little steppers. Have you seen these steppers? They have the wind in their hair. I'm losing weight, just doing this. My abs, I feel them. I feel my abs. So anyway, that's what we're competing against, right? $39.95 for this little stepping thing. So people like in the infomercial industry were like, you can't sell 90 days of hard work, resistance training, lifting weights, doing abs, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, and the premise was for John and I, well, you know, we wouldn't buy that stepper thing, or we wouldn't buy that ab, you know, this one. I just would never buy it. So we thought there's got to be 1 million people in a country of 300 million. There's got to be 1 million people who would buy something that you just look at and it just makes sense. So we put that up there, and sure enough, Power 90 with Tony Horton worked, meaning we generated enough revenue from every dollar spent in media that it was profitable. And then we started to hear, we were actually at a meeting, a company wanted us to produce a Pilates video. And so we took this meeting, and I was like, I didn't really feel good about that people would get results and that it would show and before and after. So we turned that down. But during that meeting, she talked about how much success she was having with these things, message forums. I mean, this is 1999 or 2000. And there's this thing called the internet. I was like, that's a fad. So anyway, let's create these message boards. So we put these message boards up, and at the beginning, you know, so John was in his office. John's the co-founder, and he's tall. And like he put a comment up, and then I put a comment up, and I'd be like, customer 705, you guys are so awesome, and he'd be like, I'm customer 707. Yeah, these guys really are awesome. And it was just to try to fill it with stuff. But then real customers started to actually. And I remember John came into my office one time. He's like, Carl, I don't know what to do about this one, because we would moderate each post, because you don't want profanity and stuff like that. And this one post said, Power 90, scam or not. And he was like, I don't know whether I should post this. And I was like, here's where we find out. Here's where we find out what this is about. So I said, send it live. And we sent that thing, and we watched customer after customer defend this program. Just like, it's awesome, I lost 40 pounds, da-da-da-da-da. Like, we just watched this thing fill in. And that was the beginning of the community that became Team Beachbody, really, because we saw that instead of us having to drag people along into fitness, if we did something that sort of put it out there that people would respond to, that they recognize, that one's for me, all of a sudden they would become the community, right? And then the bigger that it got, the better it got, because now every sort of twist or nuance, that a variable that would be an individual, there's somebody else with, hey, I'm a new mom too, or I'm a single dad, or whatever. Like, you get these people supporting each other on their own turf, right? It happened in the message boards. And then in 2005, we were like, what can we do to perpetuate that in a way that more people, doesn't have to be in our message boards, but more people over coffee or at PTAs or, you know, whatever, soccer moms, that they could start to connect on the basis of what was meaningful for them. And that has been sort of the guiding principle of the company ever since then. I was interviewing a possible executive when I was in New York for the company, and she was like, you know, this thing sort of sounds like one of those cults. You know? you got a pretty big job, and I can't say where she's from, but I'm like, you got a big following at your company. A lot of people love what you do. Is it like a cult, or like people excited about it? She's like, well, they're excited about it, but it's not the same sort of clapping and taking pictures and everybody dressing the same or whatever. Hey, by the way, where is your capoeira? I thought it was Guanabara Day. No idea, it was 21 Day Fix Wear Way Day. Guanabara. It's a little wrinkled because I thought it was pajamas. Anyway, so she's like, it's kind of like a cult thing. And I said, so your company, you're sort of passionate about it, but this is what the difference is between what we do and what so many other people do. Like, you can drive around. On your way in, you're driving past stores and restaurants. I mean, if you really pay attention as you're driving in, you look around at all the mom and pop stuff, and even stores, you got big Walmart and Costco that are sort of sucking up all this opportunity from people to start their own thing. They might have had a corner store, or they love to run a flower shop, or a little corner business, and it sort of gets wiped out by this Death Star of a giant box business. And then you look at people in here who aren't just selling something because they can sell some stuff. You're not just selling bubble gum at a 7-Eleven or something. You're actually attacking something that's affecting 2/3 of the population: obesity and being overweight, and the horrible feeling of a low self-esteem because you can't seem to get that under control. You guys are the ones who are stepping up for that. And I go, so you got some people, and I know we've had people leave accounting jobs or law jobs who have come over to this, very good jobs, respectable professions, but there's something about it which didn't feel fulfilling or completely humane, and didn't feed your desire to be independent so that you could walk your kids to school or be home for them when they get home from school. And I'm like, if the difference between your company, lady, and that's the way I refer to people I'm interviewing, and our company is, I'm not paying a salary to these people. What happens is they go, you know what, I'm ready to step up for me, and I'm ready to that because you're going to have to work anyway. I'm ready for that thing that I do each day to be something that helps the person who I'm offering my help to. And it happens to be done in a way like this, like Power 90 or 21 Day Fix or Slim in 6 or PIA or Ultimate Reset or whatever it is, where the person, the prospect, isn't being forced into the product that you happen to sell. They have the opportunity to step up for the product that's right for them. And because you do this sort of as a volunteer thing and you step into it, you're the one that's completely empowered versus being subservient to this master that pays your paycheck. Yep. So your paycheck is a direct reflection of how enthusiastic you are about this job, how much you believe in it, how much you study it to understand it, the 3 vital behaviors, how hard you work it, and just how much you go for it. Your work, your result. And so when I meet people and I take photos of people and you guys are so enthusiastic and you're like clapping and everything, it's like, you're darn right it feels like a cult, because every person in here is an individual that took life and said, I'm going to do it my way this time. You're darn right it's Think about the people, and I hope they're not in here, but think about the people in this hotel. Right now, there's a lady up there making my bed for me, which is fine. She can have the job or whatever. But, in a country that has 200 million people, obese or overweight, particularly in the U.S. Hispanic community, and to have the freedom to create as much wealth as you want, from $20 a week, if that's about the level that you can achieve, or that's about how much time you have, to, we've got people making $25,000 to $40,000 a week with this business. But here's the thing. Whether she or he is up there making beds, or back in that Starbucks mixing coffee, or on Facebook at home, or walking around working this business, you're working. That's the thing. I know we have prospective coaches here. Prospective coaches, whatever you're going to do, you're going to work. You have to work. You're going to have to do something. And it could be raise your kids or whatever. So then it comes down to, what do you want to do? What outcome do you want from that work? And the outcome from that work could be, I want to make as much money as possible, as fast as possible. This is not the gig for you. If you go, I want to make as much money as possible, but every action that I take has to help somebody so that their lives are a little bit better, now we're talking. Because that's what this business was built around. Every product that we create, every time we test it, it's got to go through this sort of lexicon, this battery of tests, so that the results will actually live up to what we're promising. So that when you're a coach, when you're representing this stuff, or even forwarding a link or a video or something, you can stand up there and be completely sure that it's going to work for the person who you're presenting it to. And you're not doing it, it's not just some empty box, something so that we make money, that it's going to be truly powerful. When we came out with Shakeology, I got to tell you, the pressure that I had from the board and from the company to reduce the quality of that product to make it fit in a $1 a serving model, which is what the model is in the network marketing industry, there was tons of pressure. So all this investment going into building the business, and you know, the board is like, well, you know, why don't we do this fundamentally? What works for those other companies is about a $30 or $40 a month shake. And I'm like, but that doesn't solve my problem. And I wanted to solve my problem. And again, kind of like that Power 90 story. If I solve my problem, there's got to be a million other people out there who want to see the program that works, or who want to drink something in a shake so that they don't have to eat broccoli. so you know, just for me, just for my sake, you know. So Isabel and Darren, they're formulating this thing, and it's very expensive, and the company's like, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. And I'm saying that's the same thing that everybody said about Power 90, selling a bunch of DVDs for $60, or P90X, a bunch of DVDs for $120 when you can go to Barnes & Noble and get them for $14.95. You people are a part of the dumbest network marketing scheme that's ever been created. Like, it's ridiculous. But here's the difference. The difference is, every time you represent this to somebody, you know that if they put in the work, it's going to work 100% of the time. And you can't say that about the other network marketing companies. In fact, for the people with full-time jobs, selling fast food, or taking wheels on cars, or making beds upstairs, or whatever, those jobs, while they're providing a service, you really can't connect true life enhancement and improvement directly to the person doing that job like you can to this job. But it takes a special person. It takes a person who's going to be able to go the distance, meaning, you know, Becky and Christina, great examples, and I don't mean to just single you guys out. I mean, Jason has been with us forever. Hillary, of course. I mean, just amazing what patience these people have had, because there was a time that they did this job, and if they did the math, I'm sure Jason did the math. He's like, I'm making a nickel an hour. This job is the worst job I've ever had. But actually, he was, you know, he was in super, you know, everybody's seen. Like we call that the Debo. Do you want the Debo?
That shit is awesome.
I do that pose. I go, this is Debo. But you know, so he's working his business for a year, whatever, when we just got started, and you make like a nickel an hour. And people are like, oh, you know, and I see it on Facebook, or I call coaches that cancel, and I'm like, I wasn't making any money with that. I was making like a nickel an hour. I did it for like 3 weeks. I didn't make anything. And I want to say, okay, how much money did you make during those 4 years of college that you paid for? You know, and I'm like, well, that's totally different. I'm like, why is it different? What happens if you treated the next 4 years of this business, while you've got a full-time job, what if you treated this as college for you? Or maybe it's just a 2-year program. What if you said, I don't expect to make any money from this thing for 2 years, but I'm going to bust my ass, I'm going to try to get an A in being a coach. What if every coach in here right now, instead of going, God, I got to find a coach, I got to find a great coach, that somebody who's going to work it like a Jason or a Hillary or a Becky or a Christina, I got to find one of those coaches. Don't do that. Be that. If you decide to be that, if you decide to be that kind of coach, first off, your upline's going to be like, I got one. But second, and this is the important one, every coach that you bring in, you can say to them, I want you to be like I'm being, because I'm being like Jason or Hillary or Christina or Becky, because I want something out of this. And then they'll go, well, how much money are you making? Are you elite? Are you premier? Are you a ruby about to be diamond in the next 2 hours? Are you making $5,000 a month? Are you making $20,000 a month? And you might say, I made $25, and but I got 25% off my Shakeology. But here's the other thing. Now I got 2 coaches under me. You're going to be my third, and I'm going to keep doing that. And if I do that once a week, I make Success Club every month. I'm telling you, by the time you would have graduated with a 4-year education, you're going to have an income that could very well be deep in the 6 figures, and you're not going to have any student debt. But it's about your approach. So if you approach this with absolute ambition and some patience, and you think of it like I'm going to college for 2 to 4 years, and you work it like you want to be an A student, meaning you want to be that kind of coach, like a Jason, a Hillary, a Christina, or a Becky. If you work it like that, success is right there for you. Like, it is so right there for you. And you're going to help so many people. You're going to be the ones, not me. You're going to be the ones that people are like, oh my God, can I please get my picture with you because you changed my life. You're the ones that deserve that applause. You're the ones that deserve to be in those pictures. And it's the best feeling in your life. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my career. This is why I go to dinner with these people, and they just can't believe that this is their career. And I go, I told you so. I actually didn't tell them so, but they figured it out. They were the ones that figured it out. I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden they get the courage and they go, wait, I can leave my law practice? I'm going to tell those lawyers I went and, great accounting business, and I'm going to go and I'm going to be a full-time, whatever this thing is called. I'm a coach. And people are going to be like, look at you upside. You're a coach? What do you mean you're a coach? You've never trained anybody? It's this thing. It's sort of a network marketing. Network marketing, that's gross. Okay, you're right. It's gross. You go back to flipping your burgers, making the beds, and tightening the tires on an hourly wage until they have a cutback and you have no control over your life. And let's talk about what's gross. What you guys have the opportunity to do. What you guys have the opportunity to do, and it's just starting, by the way. You have the opportunity to absolutely change the world. And I'm not talking just about the country. You have the opportunity by relationship by relationship to completely change the world. And it transcends anything that I can do. I get way too much credit for this. It's all about what you can do and how it moves out. And the courage that you have to share what we do with people with true belief. And knowing that you're going to get rejected and there's going to be criticism from people going, oh, that's one of those network marketing things. I'm sorry, but it's just not one of those network marketing things. It might look like it, but this is the one where every transaction is about helping somebody achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. This is not about see how many distributors you can get in so you can qualify for a car. This is not that business. This is the every action has to help enhance somebody's life. That's the way we approach the business. Tomorrow morning, Monday morning, when I get on the wake-up call, and I'll be there, I got a special thing to say tomorrow morning. When you get on that call, the intent that we have, I mean literally, everybody at the company knows you got to get on that call to help people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. You're an extension of that. You're a part of that. This is not about the how rich can I get before I can slow down company. This is the, I don't care how rich I get, but I do want to get rich, but I have to help people in the process. And that's okay. That's okay. And part of that means that you stay involved with with what the company's doing. We have the vital behaviors: invite, invite, invite. Be the proof the product works, and do personal development. And by the way, at Summit, I had an interesting sort of aha. People were talking about personal development. They were asking me, "What should I read?" And I like Think and Grow Rich, and I like. Anyway, I've always got like 6, 7 books that I'm reading, but I realized that telling somebody what personal development is kind of like telling them, what religion should I pick? What personal development is looking at yourself personally and going, let me explore this. And it does not mean fixing it in a heartbeat, but it means exploring it so that you're not held back in this situation by what's held you back in other situations. So if you're, yesterday I heard Saudi talk at Saudi Alante in, I said that right, in New York, where she was talking about how, all the things that had gotten in her way of success, and she was like, she started P90X, and she said, I'm going to do P90X, and this is going to be the first thing in my life that I finish. 90 days, she was in an abusive family situation, and she was like, I just need to finish something in my life to show I can do it. So that was her personal development. She needed to get over that. And once she climbed up that hill, she knew she could take something else on. And now she goes from being this person in a no-hope, dead-end job in a cubicle situation to she's going to make 6 figures this year because she did the personal development. It wasn't necessarily about what she read, but it was about every day checking for those demons that are holding her back. So it might be fear for you, it might be a tendency to quit once you get frustrated. So when you know that about yourself, you look at the last 4 things and you go, why did I fail those last 4 things? And then you say, let me go get a book, or go find some therapy, or talk to a mentor, or plug into a religion or some spiritual thing. Whatever it is for you that helps you get over the thing that has held you back, that's personal development. It's one of the 3 vital behaviors, and it's a big deal, and it's not simple as go and buying Eat That Frog, which I think is a book. So, but that's my point. Personal development is like all 3 of the vital behaviors in that it's not something that, it's not the easy one. All 3 are hard and vital, but it's something that you have to work at. I was talking to somebody a couple days ago, and we were talking about that. I did this failure speech at Summit, and she said, wow, you failed a lot. I'm like, yeah. And she said, but still, look where you've got this nice lifestyle. You can pretty much come and go as you please, meaning, money doesn't have to be an obstacle for me. And she goes, you really work about as hard as anybody that I've ever known. And I'm like, yeah, I sort of do. And she goes, well, what's the difference between you and somebody else who just sort of works hard? And I thought about that for a second, and I thought, the important stuff is the stuff that, like, I'm not perfect, and I have all these weaknesses and things that I've got to work on, and things that I'm exploring to understand. Well, who do I want to be in this? How do I lever these things? But at the same time, the stuff that I set my mind out to, I am so aggressive about it. Like, I can't turn it off. And it would be the same thing for me as a coach, as I hope it is for you. That the 3 vital behaviors, that you attack them to achieve whatever you want in your life. So when we say invite, 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 it means you go to the back office, you get that memory jogger, like you get it, I think it's the thing called the memory jogger, where it lists like accountant, banker, like all the chiropractor, all these things, people who are in your life and that you can think of, well, would PIO be right for them? Would 21 Day Fix be right for them? Like, what have I heard from them that would help them achieve their goals to lead a healthy, fulfilling life? And then you explore it with them, and you have the courage to talk to them. That's the courage and the enthusiasm to constantly invite. And then be the proof the product works. Doesn't mean you need to be a hard body. But if you want to represent this business, you got to show up with enthusiasm that you're going to do this workout today. You're going to drink this shake whenever, you got to get in the habit of drinking Shakeology every day to get to feed yourself right so that you go, oh my God, and you pay attention. How does this make me feel? How much better do I feel when I eat this way versus that way? And then you can share that with people. And then you do the personal development. It takes courage. It takes hustle. It takes some way to have things around your house that remind you that this time, at this time, as a new coach, as a person who's going to be like a Jason or a Hillary or a Becky or a Christina, and you're going to go the next level, you're going to remind yourself, because those demons that have held you back are going to try to creep back in, that desire to just sort of cruise online and Facebook, and I can't believe this Pinterest post and whatever. You're gonna find a way to wipe those away, and you're gonna get ambitious again about your life, and you're gonna say, this is the time that I want to do something. This is the time that I really want to step up, because it is so important. It's important for two reasons. Obviously, the health of this country is a very, very ugly situation. People are just not healthy. Lifestyle disease, which is the craziest two words to put together. Lifestyle disease, which means these are diseases that we're choosing. Type 2 diabetes is a disease that we're choosing because of lifestyle. Heart disease, I'm okay with a little heart disease, you know. I'm going to keep smoking. Lung cancer, that can't be that bad, you know, whatever. I've always wanted to breathe out of a hole right here. The point is, it's ugly, but these are lifestyle diseases. And we can help people, by our example, change their lives. And somebody in South Florida has got to stand up and go, you know what, I'm going to be the one that hustles constantly to fight this. And you're the one that hustles. If you're the one that hustles, you deserve to be a multi-millionaire. And I hope you get it, because that means you're helping. Every dollar that you make represents somebody got a little healthier. So every time you get that check every week, celebrate yourself. I gotta be at the end of my time, because I'm just talking and talking. I got 5 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna read this, because this is all important. Okay, so this is the embarrassing portion of my presentation. Okay, so I wrote something. Everybody, you might have seen if you were at Summit, Cheryl English is now helping us in the U.S. Hispanic market. She's down in Puerto Rico, and it's really important. You know, we launched into supporting the U.S. Hispanic business a couple years ago, and it's been okay. But then John came back from a trip over Super Saturday in January, and was like, we got to do more to support this community. And we said, you know what, let's do it with what is our hottest program and our fastest seller in the company's history. In fact, it's only been held back because we ran out of stock like 5 times on it, and that's 21-day fix. And so we said, let's translate that into Spanish. And what I'm going to do right now is read. Okay, so I wrote something that I really wanted to say to you, but I wanted to say it in Spanish. Because I realized that I probably should have learned this before I got on the plane. So, you know, forgive me a little bit, but I'm going to go for it. And hopefully this will help show just how important this is to me. Okay. Nuestro trabajo en la comunidad latina es muy importante. Debemos promover el 21-day fix en español inmediatamente, especialmente ahora que el paquete reto está disponible solo hasta el 31 de julio. Más del 60% de la población hispana sufre de sobrepeso. De ellos, más de la mitad están obesos. Niños menores de 15 años tienen el más alto índice de obesidad dentro de estos grupos. Y más del 60% de los hispanoamericanos desarrollarán obesidad y diabetes tipo 2. De acuerdo al Centro de Control de Enfermedades de Estados Unidos. Hemos traducido el 21 Day Fix al español para ayudarles a terminar con esta tendencia, pero ahora el trabajo depende de ustedes. No olviden, viene con una garantía de devolución de dinero. Pero tenemos que decirles a todos, por favor, necesitamos su coraje, su pasión y su trabajo en equipo, ahora más que nunca. Demostremos a la competencia que estamos tomando esto en serio. Acabemos con la tendencia de obesidad en la población latina. What I just did made me sweat through my
Muy bien.
Completely embarrassing, ridiculous, and uncomfortable. And what I just did was just, 45 seconds of what I'm asking you to do every day. And I know it's not easy, and it's going to make you sweat through your gaboeros or whatever. You're gonna sweat, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you're not going to understand it. And I got to tell you, just like I feel like reading that and stumbling through it matters. It matters that we reach this population that is hurting, that doesn't have a good solution, that thinks that it's a foregone conclusion that they need to be the fat ones in society, that they need to be the ones where type 2 diabetes is growing faster than in any other population. We need to be the ones. Now, you need to be the ones that have the courage to say, it doesn't have to be that way. And what you're taking for granted as a lifestyle that is not living up to what your potential is, to your American dream, you can change. So I'm asking you to have the courage to take advantage of these programs. We work so hard, and we have such incredible trainers with such amazing hearts that put these things out there. But guys, it goes nowhere, it reaches nobody unless you're the ones with the courage every single day to go, I don't care if I'm just making a nickel an hour, I'm going to try to get to be at $1,000 an hour because I'm going to have the courage to share this with people who need it. It's a very big deal what you do. I can't tell you how grateful I am for what you do, and every day you have the courage to do it, and I'm honored to work alongside you. Thank you.